0.1% doesn't seem much, however, what would horribly, catastrophically, go wrong if it was off by 0.1%? Carbon content in steel. Steels such as 1095 steel are literally just iron with 0.95% carbon in the composition. A difference of 0.1% carbon content would dramatically change the properties of the steel in question. This is true of other chemicals in alloys, but carbon is the most well known. If molybdenum is added at proportions of like 0.05% and still makes a big difference in properties. Absolutely. In World War II, Germany was short on molybdenum, so we used vanadium for our tanks instead. This resulted in a more brittle steel, which often lead to catastrophic failure in battle. Alloys are the most important thing in steel, along with temperature treatment. Fuck it up and someone is going to have a bad day. Proton charge plus electron charge. That comes out to zero, right? What would the effects be if it were minus 0.1% or plus 0.1%? All atoms in the universe are now electrically charged, and all in the same direction. Chemistry is fundamentally different in that scenario, if chemical compounds can even remain stable. The Earth would have a charge of something like 1027 coulombs. You would have a charge of something like 105 coulombs. The force between you and the Earth would be around 1022 newtons. Of course, both you and the Earth would be exploding. If 0.1% of all airline flights crashed, there would be around 87 crashes every day. I'm about to get on a plane. I'm glad that this is not the case. Man's last Reddit post before he went to heaven. Yep. In a year, it'll be, remember that Redditor who was happy to be getting on a plane then died in a crash? The trajectory of a nuclear warhead. Back in the 50s and 60s, that's actually why the warheads were so big. The missiles were only so accurate, so you needed to make a bigger boom in case your missile was off by a mile or two. Close only counts in nuclear war and horseshoes. Anything NASA does. All that space shit for sure. We're aiming for the moon-ish. We didn't go to the moon because it was easy, we went because we were 99% sure we could. The lunar missions were supposed to have a .9999 reliability as far as crew survival. There was a joke at Custsay back in the von Braun days, when they had so many German engineers, that the head of NASA went to von Braun and asked for that level of reassurance. He polled his first chief engineer, "Do you see any reason it won't work?" The man said, "Neen." He asked the second guy the same question. Neen. Third guy. Neen. Fourth guy. Neen. So he turned to the head of NASA and said, "There you go, 4 names." The United States Postal Service delivers 187.8 million pieces of first-class mail per year. If 0.1% of those go missing, that's 187,800 missing items. Did I say per year? I meant per day. Are you sure this isn't already a fact? Mailman here. That sounds a little high, but if you said, say, a tenth of that, it wouldn't surprise me. Postal clerk here. I do see a lot of missing packages and letter inquiries, but the good news is that we find almost all of them. With such volume flowing through the plants and retail offices, you know some pieces are going to get lost or destroyed. 0.1% daily increase in anything would be a disaster. Imagine every day you'd have 0.1% more cats. If there are, I don't know, 100 million cats now, there would be 144 million in a year. 3.8 billion in 10 years. 150 billion in 20. A million billion cats in 100 years. We'd all be knee-deep in a sea of cats. Or there were 0.1% more cats killed in shelters. Yeah, That's how we'd fix that growth. But imagine unchecked growth. Like growth of your own cells, for instance. In fact, the actual growth rate of cats is probably comparable if they had all the food, water, medicine and shelter they needed. Each female cat is capable of cranking out litters of more cats. I think they can have several litters. Edit, Quora says a single cat can theoretically have up to 120 kittens in a lifetime. In the 2000 US presidential election between George W. Bush and Al Gore, it came down to what was basically one state in the Electoral College. Whoever took Florida would have enough Electoral College votes to put them in the White House. Until the result in Florida was known, neither side could claim victory. And Florida was close. Like, really close. After accounts, and a contentious Supreme Court decision, it was determined that Bush had received 2,912,790 votes to Gore's 2,912,253. In short, the presidency was decided by just 537 votes out of 5.8 million, not a margin of 0.1%, but 0.01%. Depending on your view of the Bush administration, that may very well count as going horribly, catastrophically wrong. And if people changed their vote, as opposed to just more people voting, it was actually 269 votes that decided the presidency.